Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making apple pie. Now for this apple pie, you're going to start with some thinly sliced apples. These are 2 apples, but it seems like a lot. Now you're going to add some lime juice. Now this just adds a nice tang to the dish, and I really recommend you use it, but it is optional, but I recommend using it. So add some lime juice, and then you're going to add some cinnamon. Now I used 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. You can add a little bit less if you want less cinnamon flavor, but I like a lot, so I added this much. Then give it a really good mix. Make sure every apple slice is covered with lime juice and your cinnamon. But also don't break your apples while mixing it. Make sure it still has like holds its shape. Okay. After this, you're gonna add your sugars. So we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 1 tablespoon of white sugar. All the measurements are in the description box down below. Then you're gonna mix this up really well again. Now you can keep this in your fridge. Make sure you don't leave it out sitting while you're making your apple pie dough. Now for the apple pie dough, I use a food processor, and my food processor is really small. That's why I had to divide the dough and make it twice basically. So you're gonna add your sugar first and powder it. If you have already powdered sugar, then you can just use that and skip this step. Then you're gonna add your flour, all-purpose flour, and then you're gonna add some salt. Now if you're using salted butter, then obviously skip the salt, but I recommend using unsalted so that you can decide how much salt goes into your dough. Now add your butter. Make sure your butter is cold butter so that it doesn't just melt. Like if it melts, your dough won't come together well. It'll be all wet. Then blitz it up again, and then you should get a dough. But in case it's dry, you can add ice cold water. Make sure you use ice cold. Don't use room temperature water. Then blitz it up one more time, and then you will have your dough. Now for the dough, make sure you let it rest in the fridge for close to about 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes. Then it'll have like a good texture, which will be perfect for pie dough. So make sure it chills, but before you put it for chilling, make sure it's in a shape of almost like a disc, because it'll be easier for you to roll out later on and put in your pie dish. So roll it into a ball first and then flatten it out a little bit. So this is the perfect shape that you want. And then refrigerate it for 35 to 40 minutes. Now you're going to roll out your pie dough. Now before you do that, make sure you add some flour on your surface, just so your pie dough doesn't stick. Making this pie dough, I definitely had lots of issues, but I worked through it and just kept on rolling and making sure it was fine. And make sure you don't do this for too long, otherwise your butter will start to melt, which will cause your dough to soften a lot, which will make a lot of problems. So in the end, I finally got into a pan, and then make sure you poke these holes with a fork. This is really important, otherwise your pie dough will start to like raise up and create bubbles, which is not good. Add your apples, and now this is completely optional, but like there's I think it's called a lattice pattern, not sure. So for that I made half more like of the dough so that I can just use this. But this is completely optional. You don't have to do it. It is great even without it. You can even completely cover the pie on top as well. That works as well. Then on top of it, you can just sprinkle some brown sugar for some nice texture, and then bake it in the oven at 180 degrees for close to about 35 minutes. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.